When you're constantly living in fear of betrayal, it feels like you're walking on eggshells, never quite sure when the next blow will come. It's painful to love someone and still wonder if they'll stay true to you, or if one day you'll find yourself on the receiving end of the same heartbreak. You convince yourself that the love you give isn't enough, that something's missing, and that's why you can't shake the fear that they'll look elsewhere. There are days when it feels impossible to believe that love can be pure, especially when past scars remind you of the inevitable pain that comes with trusting someone. No matter how much they reassure you, the fear of being betrayed always sits in the back of your mind, making you second guess their every action. You fear the unknown, wondering if every new relationship will be just another cycle of betrayal and heartbreak, leaving you wondering if you can ever truly trust again. Trusting someone after betrayal is like trying to rebuild something that's been shattered. No matter how many pieces you try to fit together, you can never be sure it will be the same. You start to wonder if love is really worth the risk, or if you're just setting yourself up for pain that you know will come sooner or later. The fear that someone you love could betray you often leads to anxiety and paranoia, making it nearly impossible to simply enjoy the relationship as it is. It's hard to stop fearing infidelity when every new partner feels like a reminder of past heartbreak, leaving you wondering if you'll ever truly find peace in love. No matter how many times you're told that not everyone is the same, the fear that betrayal is inevitable still lingers in your heart. Sometimes the hardest part of healing is learning to trust again, and even when you do, that fear still sneaks up, whispering that it could happen once more. The fear of being cheated on isn't about not trusting your partner. It's about fearing that no one will ever love you enough to stay loyal. You tell yourself that you won't let the past define your future, but the fear of betrayal always seems to shadow every new relationship you begin. It's hard to not wonder what might happen in the future when you've been hurt before. You try to believe, but that fear is hard to silence. In the quiet moments, that nagging fear resurfaces. What if this is the time it all falls apart, and you're left once again picking up the pieces? No matter how much someone reassures you, that lingering fear of being left for someone else always feels like a heavy weight you carry inside. Love is supposed to be a safe place, but when the fear of betrayal consumes you, it feels like you're living on the edge of heartbreak at all times. The fear of being cheated on often feels more like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where your doubt and paranoia slowly start to chip away at the trust you've built. Sometimes it's not the person you fear, it's the feeling of abandonment that comes with betrayal. and how it makes you feel worthless in the end. Trust takes time to build, but the fear of it being destroyed in an instant can make it feel like it's not worth the effort, even when you want to believe. When someone betrays you, it changes how you view every relationship thereafter. You find yourself questioning everything, unsure of whether to trust again. Even when you know your partner is trustworthy, the fear that they might find someone else and leave you can cloud your judgment and make you second guess everything. It's hard to let go of the past when it keeps reminding you of the hurt and the fear of history repeating itself, especially when it comes to trust. Sometimes the hardest part isn't the act of infidelity itself, but the constant questioning of whether you'll ever be able to trust someone fully again. There's a haunting fear that no matter how much you give, it'll never be enough to make someone stay faithful. The fear of betrayal makes it hard to feel secure. You learn to live with the fear of being cheated on, but it never truly goes away, always lurking in the shadows of your mind. When trust is broken, it feels like a part of your soul is shattered, and you can't help but wonder if it will ever be whole again. The fear of betrayal can consume you, making it hard to appreciate the love that is present right in front of you, always doubting if it's real. The fear of being betrayed by someone you trust deeply can cast a shadow on every relationship you enter, leaving you wondering if love can ever truly be as pure as it seems. When you've been hurt before, it's easy to build wall around your heart, convincing yourself that all love stories are destined to end in betrayal. Sometimes the fear of being hurt is so overwhelming that it causes you to question the intentions of those who love you, even when they haven't given you a reason to doubt them. It's not the desire to control the other person that makes us paranoid about infidelity, but the fear of losing something precious we can't live without. The feeling of insecurity often stems from the past, from moments when trust was shattered, and now, no matter how hard we try, we can't shake the feeling that history will repeat itself. It's difficult to believe in the purity of love when you've seen it broken so many times. You fear that every new relationship is just another story waiting to end in betrayal. Betrayal isn't just a physical act, it's the emotional wound that cuts deeper than anything we can see, leaving us afraid to ever trust again. The deepest fear isn't that we'll be alone, but that we'll be left for someone else, that all the trust we build can vanish in a moment. There's a terrifying thought that if one person can break your heart, then maybe everyone else will too, especially if you're always afraid that love is conditional. Once trust has been broken, it's hard to believe that love could ever be as safe and secure as it once felt, leaving us in a constant state of doubt and fear. The fear of being hurt makes us question every action, every word, wondering if it's a sign of betrayal hiding beneath the surface of seemingly innocent gestures. You start to fear that no matter how much you give or how much you love, it'll never be enough to keep someone from straying. It's like living in the shadow of past heartbreaks, always wondering if every new connection will inevitably lead to the same pain. We fear that we'll be deceived by the person we trust the most, and that fear can cloud every thought, making it impossible to believe in the purity of love. The thought that someone could give their love to someone else is a terrifying reality for anyone who has experienced betrayal firsthand. In relationships, sometimes the hardest thing is trusting that someone can truly love you without the fear of them finding someone else better than you. It's hard to fully open your heart to someone when you're constantly questioning their loyalty, wondering if they could betray you at any moment. No matter how much reassurance you get, that lingering fear of being cheated on never truly goes away. It's always there, lurking in the background of your mind. The deeper you love, the more vulnerable you become to the fear that someone could break that bond without a second thought, leaving you alone and broken. Sometimes it feels like you can't trust your own judgment, wondering if the person you love could be hiding something despite their reassurances. Trust isn't just built on words, it's built on the consistency of actions. But when someone you trust breaks that consistency, it's hard to rebuild it again. Fear of infidelity can sometimes feel like a constant storm inside your mind, where doubts swirl around and make it impossible to see the truth clearly. You can't stop fearing betrayal when every past relationship has ended with a painful revelation, leaving you to wonder if it's always a matter of when and not if. The hardest part about relationships is wondering if you're the only one truly invested, or if your partner is secretly searching for something more somewhere else. You can give your heart fully, but the fear of it being trampled on always lingers, like an echo of past heartbreaks that won't fade away. Trust is fragile, and once it's broken, it takes everything within you to believe that it can ever be fully restored, no matter how hard you try. You try to convince yourself that love is enough, but when that fear of betrayal creeps in, it becomes harder to believe in the purity of your partner's intentions. Betrayal feels like an invisible scar, one that you can't ever fully remove, and the fear of it happening again never truly fades. The worst thing about fearing betrayal is that it can consume every good moment, making it difficult to enjoy the love that is right in front of you. When you've been cheated on before, It can be difficult to trust that anyone else will be different. You wonder if you're just setting yourself up for more heartbreak. The thought of losing someone you love to another person is an all consuming fear, one that often leaves you questioning every part of the relationship.